KiCad6 Schematic Editor Overview of the new version. KiCad6 is a free software for designing electrical circuits and printed circuit boards from programmers working at CERN's Large Hadron Collider in Switzerland. So, many thanks to them. Support us by subscribing to the channel right now. Like and share the link to the video with your friends. I have been familiar with KiCad since the 4th version. Recently, I finally installed my 6th one and I want to share my joy with you. By the way, at the end of the video, I will show you a very cool long-awaited feature that only appeared in KiCad6. Let's open one of the demo projects in the project manager and launch the schematic editor. The creators have slightly refreshed the look of the icons. The left panel has not changed, except for the new mill button. It sets the unit of measurement to 1/1000th of an inch. There are a couple of subtle changes in the right toolbar. The Place Bus to Bus entry button is gone, and there are also fewer buttons for working with hierarchical labels and sheets. Let's not dwell on this now. I want to see here a new window for selecting components to insert into the circuit. To do this, I click on the Place symbol button and click on an empty spot on the schematic sheet. In the Choose Symbol window, everything is the same as before, but 2 checkmarks have been added. The first is Place Repeated Copies, which means keep the symbol selected for subsequent clicks. To begin with, I remove both check marks and try to arrange 3 IR4301 microcircuits on a sheet. On the first click on the circuit, the microcircuit is installed, and on the second click, the Choose Symbol window opens again. Now I check the box and get the opportunity to arrange many chips without interruption. To reset, I press Escape and again click on the Place symbol button. Now I remove the first tick. Everything is already clear on it. The second checkbox is called Place All Units or sequentially place all units of the symbol. I suspect this is for multi-part characters. For example, take the IR4302 chip. It consists of 2 separate blocks, Unit A and Unit B. Without a checkmark, you need to go into this window twice in order to place both blocks on the diagram. The first time select Unit A and put it on the sheet, and the second time select Unit B and then put it on the diagram. When the Place All Units checkbox is active, you can select a microcircuit once, and, by the first click on the schematic sheet, the first part will be installed, and by the second part of the microcircuit. It is also interesting to click on the Add a Power Port button and see what's new in this window. It looks like quick access points to frequently used power symbols have been added here. Checkboxes have also been added as in the previous window for selecting component symbols. Now let's move on to the top toolbar. New here, Edit Schematic Setup button. The editor looks like this. There is a new button, Zoom to Objects. By clicking on it, we adjust the view exactly according to the components of the circuit. Previously, there was and remains a similar button for scaling along the format frame of the scheme. For me, it's better to scale exactly by components. Because the scheme itself on the sheet can be either much smaller than the format frame, or vice versa, it can go beyond its limits. The Generate Netlist button on this panel has disappeared. In KiCad 4, the schematic could only be linked to the board via this button. It had a window in which it was possible to generate a file list of electrical circuits. Then this file could be opened by the PCB editor from different projects. When making changes in the circuit, It was necessary to click this button and resave the Netlist file, and then reload it in the printed circuit board editor. In the 5th version, this button became optional, since it became possible to load electrical circuits directly from the printed circuit board editor. And I had to use the button in the schematic editor only when the link between the circuit and the board was lost, perhaps because of the different names of their files. Then it was impossible to simply load the list in the PCB editor and you could only select the generated Netlist file. Now loading circuits of the scheme is assigned only to the means of the editor of printed circuit boards. So the philosophy is completely changed for the better in KiCad6. Also added here is the Show the Python Scripting Console button. Nothing has changed in the File tab. In the Edit tab, of interest, the Edit Text and Graphics Properties button has been added. In this window, you can edit the size of the text, its orientation relative to the component. Also here are the settings for the thickness of the lines, their style, the size of the connection points, the choice of their color. In the View tab, everything is the same as before. The Place tab is a duplication of the right panel. There was one button in the Inspect tab, and now KiCad6 has added buttons for navigating through error markers in the diagram. The Simulator button from the next tab has also moved to this tab. The Tools tab is a duplication of the top toolbar. 4 unnecessary buttons have been removed from the Preferences tab. There are 2 buttons for setting libraries, a button for setting the functions of the schematic editor and a button for selecting a language. Although, I would leave this button only in the project manager. I see no reason to switch the language in each KiCad utility separately. On the Help tab, everything is fine as always. So we come to the promised significant improvement in the new version of KiCad6. To do this, look at the editing menu of the schematic component by right-clicking on any component. So, not only does the new Paste Special button flaunt here, but also the breaking news. Now the copy-paste function works between different files and even through different projects. As it should work, but in previous versions it only worked in one open active schema file. Now we can freely copy individual components or parts of the circuit from one file and paste them into files of other projects. With what I congratulate you. The Paste Special button for the copied circuit fragment makes it possible to select one of 3 options when pasting onto the circuit. Assign unique reference designators to pasted symbols, keep existing reference designators, even if they are duplicated, and the third option, clear reference designators on all pasted symbols. The third option, by the way, is similar to a simple paste using the Paste button. The notation refers to the numerical numbering of the components. With the third option, Paste Special, or a simple insertion, the digital numbering of the components is replaced by question marks. Replacing labels when inserting is very important, as it is not allowed to have multiple components with the same label in the design, and this is fraught with errors when trying to export the netlist to the board. In addition, many symbols on the diagram are hidden. For example, power symbols store hidden symbols and it is desirable to reset them from the value and reassign automatically when inserted. In general, we do not see significant changes in the schematic editor, but the correct copy and paste function promises to greatly simplify our lives. Maybe a minimum of changes is for the better. It's not so scary to switch to KiCad6. The convenient familiar philosophy of working with a circuit and library components has remained the same as before. What can safely be called a positive? So, I'm satisfied with this KiCad6 review and I want to do the same with PCB Editor. So see you soon. I wonder if copying has already worked correctly there. I wish you health and longevity. Be sure to subscribe to the channel now, like and share this video with your friends.